McVeigh's universal credit refusal could see hundreds of thousands lose all income. The failure of ministers to make a key change to the way the government will move existing benefit claimants onto universal credit could see hundreds of thousands of disabled people left without any income at all, campaigners fear. This is murder, further murder by the government, and in particular Esther McVeigh. Ministers say stopping benefit sanctions would do disabled people a great disservice. They live on a different frigging planet. A minister has suggested that the government would be doing a great disservice to disabled people if it stopped sanctioning their out-of-work benefits. The comments by Alok Sharma says it all really. The Employment Minister came in correspondence with the Commons Work and Pensions Committee as part of its inquiry into the government's harmful and counterproductive benefit sanctions regime. The committee's report, published this week, calls on the government to urgently reassess the regime. The committee concludes in its report, of all the evidence we received, none was more compelling than that against the imposition of conditionality and sanctions on people with a disability or health condition. It does not work. Worse, it is harmful and counterproductive, and it kills. And if you needed any more evidence, universal credit forced struggling couple to live in a tent in the woods. After Sue lost her job in a pub, she and fiance Tony had to spend 7 weeks living in a tent. Walkers in the Fulford Lings beauty spot near York have become used to small encampments dotted between trees. This is an utter disgrace. This is universal credit for you. This is the government for you. They want us all on the streets or in little boxes that they can control with a camera watching everything you do. That's the sort of dictatorship these scumbags want. Evidence suggests America's foster care system is a front for child sex trafficking. What a shock! Just like ours. As much as no one wants to talk about it, it's important that we do. Unfortunately, the sad reality is that child sex trafficking is an epidemic in this day and age. While many people would consider this crime as bad as homicide, more often than not, we as a society are turning a blind eye to the issue. In fact, I'm curious to see how many hits this article receives, as this topic tends to fall under the don't ask, don't tell category. It's exactly the same in the UK. The SS, social services, are just procuring children to be abused, raped and murdered, because that's all the social services do. They don't give a shit about you or I. It's about procuring children for the paedophiles. Westminster whistleblower tells ITV News he was ordered to back off over government grants to paedophiles. Former Home Office employee Tim Hurlbert has spoken to ITV News about how he raised concerns about PI funding with his employers. The Home Office investigation did not interview him about his claims, but today we did. Tim Hurlbert has not spoken publicly for nearly 35 years about what he witnessed in his government department, but today he spoke to ITV News. You see that all governments are run by paedophiles. Your government in whatever country is run by paedophiles. Freemasons, which is paedophiles. Paedophile PC said girl he raped in car seemed to be enjoying it. Ian Nord, 30, a PC with Cheshire Police, no surprise there, picked the girl up from her home while her mother was out and drove her to a quiet country lane, Liverpool Crown Court. The father of one told the girl to call me daddy because it got him excited, he told the jury. He then allegedly raped her in the back seat of his car as he took photos and videos on his mobile phone. They're all in it. And same again, police officer accused of raping 13-year-old girl in car backseat while he filmed her tells jurors she seemed to be enjoying it. That's how sick these bastards are, because they think while they're raping someone, they must be enjoying it, when in actual fact they're not, of course. Exeter City Labour councillor at centre of child pornography probe. What a shock! Another Labour council that's full of paedophiles, just like Nottingham criminal cartel. An ex-Labour City councillor is under police investigation for child pornography offences. Roger Spackman, 47, was arrested at a home address in Newton for making pornographic photographs of children. The Labour councillor had a 12-year career in Devon's child protection. What a frigging shock! He worked in child protection services, just like Alison Michelska. Does it seem like there's so many things that are identical in all the councils? The real paedophiles work in some sort of child protection side. The leaders and the CEOs are all involved. My. That's how it is in Nottingham anyway. Well, I'm not going to get too much on that, because vulnerable children treated like cattle in care home system. Experts raise concerns over safety and privacy of young people in social care system in England and Wales. You recall me saying right at the beginning about the children's services, child trafficking? Well, here you go, it's exactly the same. Vulnerable children are being treated like cattle and moved around care homes in England and Wales, with councils routinely inviting companies to compete for contracts through an online bidding process, experts have said. A Guardian investigation found evidence of local authorities putting the personal details of children online adverts, including information about previous sexual abuse and gang involvement, while inviting bids for private companies for their, it says care, but it's nothing to do with care. This is child trafficking. Gazette was correct about ex-mayor's pro-paedophile past, top lawyer concludes. A top barrister has confirmed former Islington councillor Sandy Marks' past links to a pro-paedophile campaign group. They're all at it. Every single council is full of paedophiles. On a brighter note, Bank of England stages day of war games to combat cyber attacks. Now, I'm sure you're all aware of what happens whenever they have an exercise. The real thing happens, and the exercise is just there to cover those carrying out the real attack. So don't be surprised if the Bank of England gets a cyber attack. And don't forget as well, tomorrow is 11/11/11, 11th of the day of the 11th month of 2018. 8 and 2 is 10 and 1 is 11. So it's 11/11/11. So anything could happen tomorrow. Or not. Trump's acting Attorney General involved in firm that scammed veterans out of life savings. Matthew Whitaker was paid advisory board member for WPM. Veteran, I spent the money on a dream, I lost everything. The corruption is just everywhere in anything to do with government, police, courts, councils. It'll be full of paedophiles, thieves, robbers and scum. On a brighter note, German scientists prove there is life after death. Well, I knew that all along, didn't you? Of course you did. This astonishing announcement is based on the conclusions of a study using a new type of medically supervised near-death experience. A team of psychologists and medical doctors associated with the Technische University of Berlin have announced that they have proven by clinical experimentation the existence of some form of life after death. This astonishing announcement is based on the conclusions of a study. I know that our results could disturb the beliefs of many people. His controversial process that was repeated on 944 volunteers over the last 4 years necessitates a complex mixture of drugs including epinephrine and dimethyltryptamine, destined to allow the body to survive a state of clinical death and the reanimation process about damage. So, as Cack and Matt could say, nothing to fear about death. If you haven't learnt your lesson, you get to come back here and try again. If you've learnt your lesson, you can move on to the next level. Because it is just a game at the end of the day. It's just some of that are playing the game are very, very naughty and cheat. Foreign soldiers will swell our ranks and provide much needed diversity. Absolute bollocks. All this is about is getting the armed forces, the Navy, the Air Force, all that filled up with foreigners so that when they turn them on the public, they won't care because they're not British. The evidence is in. Raw milk actually boosts immunity, prevents infections. Now this is a really iffy topic because no one should be drinking milk regardless. But let's not forget that Louis Pasteur pasteurised the milk, and what that did was got rid of anything that was good in milk. So rather than drinking pasteurised milk, raw milk probably will give you some minerals and vitamins, but it's a cow's milk, and calves have to die so you can drink milk. They get the cows pregnant, the calves are just killed, and so you can have a drink of milk. Do not drink any milk. Although if you're going to, raw milk has got to be better than pasteurised. But don't drink any. Scientists discover soy actually accelerates breast cancer rather than preventing it. Researchers find soy... yeah, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not going to read this whole topic. I'm not going to read much of it, actually, because, yes, soy is bad for you, but not the natural organic soy. It's the GMO soy. Anything GMO you don't want to be putting in your bodies because it's genetically modified. They've messed around with it so that it can do things. It can repel bugs because the bugs won't eat it because they know it's poison. The Guardian. We get help with our marriage when we need it. Michael. Doesn't he look better when he's had a shave? Michael Obama, the former US First Man Lady, has revealed that she had a miscarriage and bullshit. And underwent bullshit IVF treatment. You don't talk shit, you're a bloke. With her husband Barack Insane Obama to conceive their two. No, you never gave birth, you're a bloke, don't give a shit. And if you doubt it, just do a tiny bit of research. Everyone's talking about it and have been for the past 8-10 years. It's blatantly obvious. It's got a package bigger than, well, bigger than some. And when there's the photo out there with about, well, it looks like about a week's growth. It's that much because when he was in the White House, he was getting shaved 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. And of course, when you shave more, it grows more. So that's why he's got such growth now. Express. Keeping the flame alive for the fallen. No. It's taking the piss of the fallen. That's all that is. That is them, the parasites, laughing. We've duped those dumbasses to go and die for our banks yet again. And look, they celebrate it with us every year. How stupid and dumbed down have we made the public? That's what really goes on. More bullshit here. Brexit turmoil. Deadlock. Boris's brother quits government over terrible deal and calls for new vote. Defiant May refuses to back down as stalled exit talks go to the wire. There's more to this, and I'll read it. I'll explain that when we get there. Star. Jaffagate, new Christmas pack is 8 cakes shy, but the same price. This is what they do. You know, you've seen it with the if you eat chocolate bars or anything like that, how they used to be about this big and now they're about this big, but the same price. In fact, they've gone up, but hey. So Jaffa Cake's doing the same thing. You used to get a yard, now you're getting 8 less. What a shock. Not. Telly exclusive. What a cha-cha chump insiders lift lid on Bully Row Strictly Danny. What is this shit with with Strictly? It's a shit programme about some has-been celebs at some point. I mean, he was Cat in that comedy, which was actually quite funny, but Strictly Dancing is shit. And it's in the papers almost. Why are the papers pushing this? There's a reason behind it, and it's not because there's any news in it. It's just all utter bullshit about it. The scum. I'm a celebrity exclusive. More TV. Holly, I'll be more scared of Bush Tucker trials than celebrities. Exclusive. It's nappy news. Supermum has baby 21. Wow. That's some going. I mean, her eldest kid is going to be at least 21. That's if they knock out one a year. Wonder what gets in your head when you think, yeah, let's just have another, let's just have another, let's just have another, let's just have another, let's just... Well, good on you. You're doing your bit for us. The Times. Worst crisis since Suez. Ministers savages May's Brexit strategy and quits. Joe Johnson follows brother Boris out of government. And there, look, you've got Macron and May laughing at the dead. Remember, she did a dance on the dead, and now they're both there laughing at the dead. Kathleen Moran. Help, I want to be a hippie. Sexism and Frenchmen. Tell, lie, graph. Brothers united in dismay at PM's deal. Remainer Joe Johnson quits over Brexit, saying he shares the frustration of Leave supporters Boris. Yard chief. Politicians have left us lagging behind the bad boys, or bad guys. And this picture, honouring the fallen from first to last. No. Laughing and taking the piss out of the fallen from first to last is what's really going on there. Snap poll fears prompts Corbyn MI6 meeting. It's coming out. Hey, Corbyn, it's coming out about you covering up the paedophilia in the 80s in Islington. Oh. They're all in it together. Mirror. Bojo v Brojo. Johnson's brother quits over Brexit and puts PM in a crisis. At the going down on the sun and in the morning we will remember them and laugh because we conned them into dying for the banks. Strictly Danny wife Fury. Beeb threw him under bus after he left Amy in tears. Why? Why? A load of bullshit and a load of bullshit. Daily fail. Crisis for PM as Boris' brother walks out. Ministers savages Chequers deal as fake Brexit and demands second referendum. So it's nothing to do with the fake Brexit. It's about having a second referendum. That's been the plan all along. You can imagine them 10, 15, 20 years ago saying, right, and it's going to get to the point where we're going to have a vote. Now, if we leave them a vote, which is a real vote where they decide whether we go or stay, if we've bombarded them with enough publicity up to that point, they'll vote to remain. But what if they vote to leave? Well, what we'll do then is we'll cause so much confusion and mayhem and cause all sorts of shit that, while continually bombarding them for a couple of years on pro-Brexit, on remaining, that after the two or so years, they'll be ripe for another referendum, which this time they'll vote our way, but just in case they don't, we'll fix it so that it does go to Remain. Can you see it yet? Fergie, truth about my life with Andrew the paedophile. FT Weekend, how the mafia collared our food. Yeah, that came in after World War II, when those that had been trying to bring in a one world government, or an old world order as it was back then, realised in the Nuremberg trials that, this is why one of them only got 5 years and was out after even less, well, if we control the food, bombard it with pesticides, which is poison, we can poison the food and it'll kill them all slowly, they won't realise it, and then when we've got rid of enough, we can have the slaves that are left as slaves and we're sorted. And that's what happened after Nuremberg. May left reeling as Joe Johnson quits. Boris Minister brother calls for second EU referendum. Brexit talk stall in Brussels. Right, see, this is where you can spot the bullshit here. Because if he was just pissed at how she's handling the non-existent Brexit, and he would say, right, let's just repeal the 72 Act and we're out. But no, he's calling for a second referendum, which has been the plan all along. Tribute to fallen of the Somme. No, we're laughing our tits off at those that were dumb enough, well, not that they had much choice, mind you, because they were drafted in and had to go there, and they were told if you don't get over and run at them machine guns, the military police would shoot you in the back and kill you. That's how evil these scum-sucking parasites are. Dennis Healy. World events do not occur by accident. They are made to happen, whether it is to do with national issues or commerce, and most of them are staged and managed by those who hold the purse strings.